Hi everyone, this is Dr. B, and this is my week 2 check-in video. Every week I will be posting a check-in video to just talk about your previous week's discussion posts, to discuss the current week's discussion posts and any upcoming assignments. In these videos, I tend to answer any frequently asked questions that I might get via email. Sometimes students have questions about the course content or about the readings or the videos or questions on the assignments. And I figure if one person has that question, then maybe others will also. So I tend to compile those questions. And after I respond to the individual person, I compile those questions and then I share the question and the response in these weekly videos. I also talk about upcoming assignments and clarify any um, any things about the upcoming assignments that have been asked, those sort of things. So really these weekly check-in videos are really meant to help you be successful in the course. So this is week 2 check-in video for social work social work 502 for summer of 2023. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about week 1's discussions. So first and foremost, your introduction videos. One of the reasons I always include a required introduction video in my courses in the online program is because it is a good way to connect a face with a name and to get to know you a little bit more. Because we really are, even though we are an asynchronous online program, we want to build a community. We are a community together, a community of learners. And so having this introduction video where you tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about, in particular for this class, a little bit about, your experience with working with individuals who have been given a mental health diagnosis from the DSM-5 is it helps us to kind of connect with each other in what our experiences have been, and what areas that we feel that we have some knowledge in, and areas that we feel we need to grow more in, those sort of things. And so hopefully everybody took time to watch each other's introduction videos, and I did, and it was great to be able to see all of you and get the different experiences that individuals come with. So that is great. Um, so all right, then and hopefully everybody took some time to watch my introduction video, as well as I posted 3 intro to course assignments 1, 2, and 3 that really talk about, the course overall, the content overall, what we'll be doing in these next, week throughout the course together, but also they really address each of the discussions, quizzes, and assignments in more detail. So if you've not had an opportunity to review those videos, please do so. So in your ethical issues in making a diagnosis, one of the things that I mentioned in my video last week in terms of, week 1, and in terms of ethical issues in making diagnoses, social workers, it is important for us to understand the DSM, and the current DSM right now is the DSM-5, TR, which just came out last year. And it's really important to become familiar with the DSM-5 and the different diagnoses, because we're going to have clients that come with these diagnoses already. And it's helpful to help us, it helps us to understand the client, the journey that they have been on, um, treatments that they might have received, and to help us also, in our assessment, we don't want to just come in and automatically assume that that diagnosis is correct, because from your readings, you know that this is not always the case, right? Francis talks about the unreliability of diagnosis is because it is so subjective. And when it is done quickly, it can be very harmful, and misdiagnoses are common um, when there's limited time or resources to really take the time to do an accurate, um, uh, you know, clinical assessment for a DSM diagnosis. So that's one of the things that it's important for us to keep in mind, and also that this isn't the only, you know, the only assessment that we as social workers use or recognize as being just as important in terms of helping us understand um, the client's lived experience. And so, we as social workers believe um, in assessments that are strength based, that look at the person and their environment, the context, that are really multidimensional and that really are holistic in their viewpoint. And so, you know, this is, it's important to understand the DSM, but for us as social workers, it's not the be all end all. It is one tool. But it is not something that we rely solely on. So I just want to say that I was really impressed how, with your responses for the ethical issues in making diagnoses, and having read, the two, comparing both the Francis, you know, chapter with the Being Sane in Insane Places article, and looking at what some of the pitfalls are of diagnoses, um, and um, and what are some of uh, the things that Francis really, that he talks about in terms of being important to make an accurate assessment. And, he talks about the do no harm, and that's really important as well. So good job there. For week 2, there are the social work shared case is the week 2 discussion, and there is a week 2 substance related quiz. Additional, there's a week 2 assignment on a small group conversation on diagnostic systems. Remember, you're able to now go into your groups and be able to use the different functions in the group. So you can leave each other messages, you can, you know, submit, upload, any kind of papers or things that you want to. And so that is a good place for you to use throughout the course to communicate with each other, but you are being asked to join together with your group members. And after completing this week's readings from the DSM and your text and reviewing the shared case, which the link is here, and it is also, the shared case will also be part of your discussion, your week 2 discussion, and watching the assessment process videos. Answer the following, or talk together through this question. What are the benefits and challenges of using the DSM-5? Use pages 5 and 6 of the Francis text for a foundation of your discussion. And this is just and you guys will have this discussion. You don't have to submit this week in week 2 anything related to this, but in your week 3 discussion post, you will post about this conversation that you had with your group member or members in your week 3 discussion. Okay, so for week 2, even though you're being asked to meet during week 2 before week 3, and have this discussion with your group member. I say group member because there's one group that only has 2 individuals and the rest have 3. So meet with your group member or group members and, discuss this question. And then in week 3, you will be asked to, one of your discussion posts will be to discuss this conversation in particular. Okay. Your week 2 discussion is based on the social work shared case. If you click on this little link, it'll open it for you. You're being asked to answer the following questions and make sure to use headings and subheadings. So one of your headings could be risk factors, and then answer that question, and choose one substance-related diagnosis that you would assess Anita for and describe why. What behavioral manifestations, signs, symptoms do you see in Anthony, and or risk factors that might be evidence of alcohol exposure in utero? Include citations in reference to the fetal alcohol video or videos that you watched, and discuss assessing Anita based on the assessment process video and resources, and make a list of questions you have about assessment and diagnosis. So right there you have 3 major questions, and so you can make those, your first heading could be Anita and risks. This second one could be, actually it's 4, not 3. The substance-related diagnosis could be your heading there, and so on and so forth. And then follow up with at least one classmate that does not have any responses if you can. If people already have responses, that's fine. But make sure to follow up with at least one classmate. What have you learned from your classmates' posts? And what can you add to their learning? What similarities and differences do you see among your classmates' analysis? What did you learn that you could apply in practice? As usual, unless otherwise noted, your initial discussion post is due the Thursday of the week in which the assignment was posted, and a response or responses are due by the Sunday of the week in which the assignment was posted. All right, and then as I mentioned before, there is a week 2 quiz. You have, as I mentioned in the video where I discuss the course quizzes and discussion posts and assignments, you have an unlimited amount of time, but only one try to complete this quiz. You can use a DSM-5 and other resources that you have to help you with this. All right. Well, you take care. I will talk to you all again next week.